Shubhaya everyone. So today we are going to learn about the venous system and how its applicability can be done in Siddha Vedana. So to understand and know more about this Siddha Vedana procedures and how we can completely do this in venous system, we will understand that. So basically first we need to know that what are arteries and what are veins. So let us understand the main difference between the arteries and the veins. Arteries distribute blood to various parts. In common words, we can understand that from the heart, the arteries can take away all the blood and supply it to the other parts of the body, whereas veins have the function of performing that they take the blood from all other parts of the body to the heart. Next, these are deeply situated, whereas veins are superficial or deep. There are no superficial arteries, but there are some of the veins which are superficial, having name corresponding to these superficial veins. These follow a different pathway. The veins are more difficult to follow as they connect to irregular intervals. Therefore, there are various different types of veins which are present in our body. The three systemic veins are coronary sinus, inferior vena cava, superior vena cava, which return the deoxygenated blood to the heart. Whereas in arteries we have only one systemic artery, that is the aorta, which takes the oxygenated blood away from the heart. Let's consider this is as our heart. This is the superior vena cava. This is the inferior vena cava. This is the superior one, this is the inferior one. So, this superior vena cava branches into two, that is, one is the left brachiocephalic vein and the right brachiocephalic vein. Correct? So, this brachiocephalic means, brachio means the arms portion and cephalic means the head portion. So, left brachiocephalic and right brachiocephalic vein. Brachiocephalic. Here also, this is one is left one more is the right one. That is the brachiocephalic. Next, this brachiocephalic vein further divides into one more structure called as the subclavian vein. Called as the subclavian vein. This subclavian vein again divides into axillary vein. This is subclavian vein. Subclavian vein. And this again divides into the axillary vein. This is axillary vein. Okay? We have seen that superior vena cava divides into left brachiocephalic, right brachiocephalic, and then further it again divides into subclavian vein. And this subclavian vein again divides into the axillary vein. Okay? So let's come here. This axillary vein further branches into two. One is the cephalic vein. Cephalic vein. One more is the basilic vein. One is the cephalic vein, one more is the basilic vein. And these two are in this interconnected by medial cuboidal vein. This is medial cuboidal vein. And this medial cuboidal vein is one among the content of the cuboidal fossa. It is one among the contents of cuboidal fossa. This is our cuboidal fossa, and this medial cuboidal vein is very important for intravenous injections or drawing of the blood from the body. So this has a significant importance, that is the medial cuboidal vein. This further continues, and we know that here we have our palmar arch. That is palmar arch, and this cephalic vein continues to dorsum of the surface, and here we know that this is the radial side, this is the ulnar side. So this will be the radial vein. This is the radial vein. This is the ulnar vein. Ulnar vein. This is the radial vein. This is the ulnar vein. These two veins again merge to form the brachial vein. This brachial vein merges with the basilic vein. So this is the venous system of the upper limb. Okay. So shall we summarize once again? That is, this is the superior vena cava. Superior vena cava is further divided into right brachiocephalic and left brachiocephalic. This brachiocephalic is further divided into the subclavian vein. This subclavian vein further divides into the axillary vein. This axillary vein again divides starting from here into our cephalic vein and basilic vein. And these two cephalic and basilic vein in the cuboidal fossa are interconnected by the median cuboidal vein, which is having a clinical importance of intravenous injections and withdrawal of the blood from this vein. And these further continues as radial vein and ulnar vein. From this palmar arch we can see the radial vein arising and the ulnar vein. Both of these radial and ulnar vein merge to form the brachial vein, and this brachial vein again drains the blood into the basilic vein. Okay. So we can remember this whole upper limb venous supply as सबसे छोटा राजू. सबसे मैं छोटा राजू. So this is a trick by which we can remember the venous system of this upper limb. S means the subclavian vein, A means the axillary vein, B means the basilic vein, C means the cephalic vein, M means the medial cuboidal vein. So radial and as well as the ulnar vein. Okay. So we can remember like this: सबसे मैं छोटा राजू. This is coming to the upper. Let's study about the lower limb venous system. Okay. So as we have seen here, we have the palmar arch. So basically here we will be going to have the plantar arch. From here, plantar arch will arise. Okay. So this plantar arch will drain into the anterior tibial artery, posterior tibial artery. These run along this tibial bone, anterior tibial artery, posterior tibial artery. This is the anterior tibial artery. Anterior tibial artery. Anterior tibial artery. And posterior tibial artery. Both these combine and merge to form the popliteal vein. Both of these, anterior and the posterior tibial vein. This is vein actually. Vein. Both of these merge to form the popliteal vein. Here we have the popliteal vein. This popliteal vein further continues as femoral vein. This is femoral vein. Popliteal vein continues as the femoral vein. This further continues as the external iliac vein. External iliac vein. External iliac vein. This external iliac vein again further continues as a common iliac vein. It again continues as common iliac vein. This is nothing but the common iliac vein. This common iliac vein again further it takes up the blood from whole lower limb and it again drains into the inferior vena cava. So this is the lower limb venous system. I hope you all have been understood this. Once together merge in the popliteal fossa forming the popliteal vein. This popliteal vein again forms the femoral vein. This femoral vein continues as the external iliac vein, and this external iliac vein again continues as the common iliac vein, and this common iliac vein drains the whole blood of the lower limb into the inferior vena cava. Two categories mainly the small, the superficial veins and the deep veins. These all are the deep veins. Coming to the superficial veins, there are two categories in the superficial vein. One is the small saphenous vein, which drains into the popliteal vein. This is the small saphenous vein. Small saphenous vein. Small saphenous vein. And one more is the great saphenous vein. You know, this is the great saphenous vein. This drains into the femoral vein. This drains into the femoral vein. Okay. So this is the great. This is the great saphenous vein. Great saphenous vein, which drains into the femoral vein. These are the two categories of veins which we can especially see in case of the lower limbs, that is the superficial vein, and one more is the deep veins. In the superficial veins we have two set of veins, that is the great saphenous vein and small saphenous vein. This great saphenous vein drains into the femoral vein, small saphenous vein drains into the popliteal vein, and these two deep veins and the superficial veins are connected by the perforating veins. We can see here, these are the two set of veins which are connecting by the perforating valves. We can say perforating veins. Perforating veins or valves. Okay, these perforating. So this is the blood venous system of the lower limb. So next, study venous drainage in case of the abdomen and the thorax region. So what actually happens is, this is the inferior vena cava which runs throughout this. This is the inferior vena cava which runs through the abdomen. So this inferior vena cava is also one among the opening of the diaphragm, as we all know about that. So let's study the venous system or the venous drainage of the abdomen and the thorax region. What actually happens is, let me make it more clear for you in this region. This is the whole inferior vena cava, we can see. To this, there are three veins from the liver which drain into this. 1, 2, and 3. So, 3 veins from the liver drain into this inferior vena cava, and we can see that there are 2 veins from the each respective left and right kidney draining into the inferior vena cava. 2 veins which are draining into the inferior vena cava. Okay, and this left cava, this renal vein also further continues as the left gonadal vein. Left gonadal vein, and supplies to the scrotum. Okay. So when there is any obstruction or if there is any pressure over this leads to the engorgement of the veins in the scrotum, and this condition can be called as varicocele. This is varicocele. Varicocele condition, okay, when there is any compression over the left gonadal vein. Okay, so we have studied about this abdomen and thorax, and posteriorly we have, this is our vertebral column. This is the vertebral column. To this vein which runs parallelly is called as the azygous vein, which drains all the this is our azygous vein. Azygous vein. This is the azygous vein. Okay, this drains all the blood from the abdomen and the thorax region posteriorly. And this here you also have the hemiazygous vein. This is the hemiazygous vein. This is the hemiazygous vein, and these here we have the accessory hemiazygous vein. Accessory azygous veins. Okay, which all in total drain into this inferior vena cava. So this inferior and superior and the inferior vena cava are also interconnected by the azygal vein tributaries. Okay, so this is how we have studied about the upper limb, lower limb, and the abdomen and thorax. Just partially summarize the class, that is veins of the head and neck. So most blood draining from the head passes into three pairs of the veins, that is internal jugular vein, external jugular vein, and the vertebral veins. Within the brain, all the veins drain into the dural venous sinuses and then into the internal jugular veins. As I have already told about the SDM, which drains into the internal jugular veins. And the dural venous sinuses are endothelial lined venous channels between the layers of the cranial dura mater, the three layers of the brain through which these are the sinuses which drains the blood into the internal jugular vein. Next. So these are the images through which we can understand how the superior sagittal sinuses, inferior sagittal sinuses, all these drains into the internal jugular vein and external jugular vein. Next, this is the internal jugular vein. Here we can see the internal jugular vein. This is the cavernous sinus, greater cerebral vein, internal sagittal sinus, superior sagittal sinus, superior cerebral sinus. All these sinuses drains the blood from the different parts of the brain into the internal. Let's come here and understand this. These are the internal jugular vein, external jugular vein, and the brachiocephalic vein. This jugular vein is having a direct contact with the right atrium. So the jugular venous pressure is very important, and as a physician you should know how to assess this jugular venous pressure. For that we can make a separate video. So let's understand the process. Why this is important is because of here at the external jugular vein we are going to do the Siravedhana. Siravedhana is also considered as the Ardha Chikitsa in case of Shalyatantra. So let's see how we can do the Siravedhana in case of this external jugular vein. We have a video over here. This is Rakta Mokshana. So whenever there will be a Vyadhi which is occurring in the Urdhva Jatrurbhaga, which is vitiated by the Pitta dosha, Kapha dosha, and the Rakta is highly Dushita, in such conditions we can go for this external jugular vein Siravedhana. And it has to be performed under the careful guidance until and unless a perfect physician does it. It is very dangerous also. Here we can see that Dushita Rakta is coming out of the external jugular vein. Here we can see that clearly. Next. As we have already discussed, I will just recall it once again. Here are the internal jugular veins, the brachiocephalic vein, which further divides into the subclavian vein. This subclavian vein further divides into the axillary vein, and this is further divided into two. That is, one is the cephalic vein and one more is the basilic vein. This cephalic vein and basilic vein are interconnected with the help of the median cuboidal vein in case of the cuboidal fossa, where we draw the intravenous, where we do the intravenous injections or draw the blood from here. This cephalic vein further continues, and from this palmar arch we have the radial vein running parallel to the radial bone, and the ulnar vein is running parallel to the ulnar bone, and this further combines to form the basic vein. Okay, this basic vein again brings the blood into the brachial. This combines to form the brachial vein, and this brachial vein again drains the blood into the basic vein. So next. Okay. So as we have already studied about the venous system of the abdomen and the thorax, we can see here that there is blood drainage from the different parts of the abdomen and thorax into the inferior vena cava through the azygous vein. How? This is the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. Okay, the right superior intercostal veins drains into it are the azygous vein, and the azygous vein is spread from the top to the bottom. Okay, intercostal vein, all these drains into the azygous vein, and the communicating azygous and the hemiazygous veins which are present in between the vertebrae and the vertebral column, and the hemiazygous vein, all these accessory hemiazygous vein, all these drains directly into the azygous vein. Next. So let's know about superficial about this great saphenous vein. It is having great importance because it is one among the longest veins in the body, and it ascends from the foot to the groin in the subcutaneous layer. Okay, it begins at the medial end of the dorsal venous arches of the foot. Okay, as we have already seen, it begins at the medial end of dorsal venous arches of the foot. These dorsal venous arches are networks of veins on the dorsum of the foot formed by the dorsal digital veins. It is formed by dorsal digital veins which collect the blood from the toes and then unite them into pairs to form the dorsal metatarsal veins. So you just understand that the great saphenous vein is one of the longest veins, and it begins in the middle end of the dorsal venous arches of the foot. As the dorsal metatarsal vein approaches the foot, they combine to form the dorsal venous arches. Next. The great saphenous vein passes anterior to the medial malleolus of the tibia. Here you can see, here is the medial malleolus. Okay, passes to the medial malleolus of the tibia, and then superiorly along the medial aspect of the leg and the thigh, just beneath the skin, receive tributaries from the superficial tissues and connect with the deep veins as well. These great saphenous vein, I have already explained, drains the blood into the femoral vein, and the superficial veins drains the blood into the, that is the small saphenous veins drains the blood into the popliteal vein. Next. So this is a clinical condition that we are most familiar with, and nowadays many people who are subjected to prolonged standing, even the housewives, bus conductors and many other occupation peoples are having this type of condition, that is nothing but the varicose vein. And Siravedhana or Rakta Mokshana treatment is one of the best therapy for this varicose vein treatment. So these veins are more likely to be subjected to varicosities than the other veins of the lower limb because they must support a long column of blood and are well supported by the muscle skeletal system. So यहाँ पे होता क्या है कि इस ब्लड को हमें ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स के अगेंस्ट पंप करना पड़ता है टू द इंफीरियर वेना केवा. सो इसे बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर लगा के नीचे से ब्लड ऊपर पंप करना पड़ेगा अगेंस्ट द ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स. इसीलिए यहाँ पे ज्यादा चांसेस होते हैं वेरिकोज वेन फॉर्मेशन होने के rather than other parts of the body. ठीक है, and which is known as the peripheral heart or the which is known as the secondary heart, then you should answer it as the soleus muscle. सोलियस मसल ऐसा मसल है जो कि काफ मसल में प्रेजेंट होता है, जो पंप बैक करता है ब्लड अगेंस्ट द ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स. So therefore it is called as the peripheral heart of the body. So here we can see that this is a normal blood flow and the valves are also open, but in case of the varicose vein there is bulging or the engorgement of the veins, because of which there is no unidirectional flow of the blood against the gravity. Video of Sira Vedana being done in case of the varicose vein patient. Let us see that. So as I have already said that Sira Vedana is the Atha Chikitsa in case of the Shalatantra. So with the help of the surgical needle number 24 or 20, Acharya Sushruta has even mentioned how much depth the needle should be put. As we can see, there is a continuous stream of blood flow coming out. This is nothing but the Dushita Rakta, and immediately when this Dushita Rakta is removed, the patient feels very much comfort and relaxation feeling. We can see here the Dushita Rakta is coming out. This is the Dushita Rakta which is being coagulated inside the vessels, and this is coming out. So Acharya Sushruta is called as the father of Indian surgery or surgery. क्यों कहते हैं लोग ऐसा आचार्य सुश्रुता? ऐसे ही नहीं कहते, क्योंकि आचार्य सुश्रुत ने करोड़ों साल पहले ही नोज रिकंस्ट्रक्टिव सर्जरी के बारे में बताया हुआ है उनके ग्रंथ में, यानी कि संहिता में। इसका हमें रेफरेंस मिलेगा कर्णबंधन विधि अध्याय सूत्रस्थान और सुश्रुत संहिता इन द 17th चैप्टर। सो उसमें आचार्य ने क्लियरली बताया हुआ है कि कैसे नेजल रिकंस्ट्रक्टिव सर्जरी किया जा सकता है। पिछले जमाने में क्या होता था, जब बहुत सारे युद्ध का समय होता था, तब वहां पे नाक कट जाना, या फिर आज के जमाने में अगर हम कंसिडर करेंगे तो रोड ट्रैफिक एक्सीडेंट्स, आरटीएम, या फिर डिफरेंट रीजंस जिसकी वजह से अगर आपका नाक कट गया हो, उसमें भी आचार्य सुश्रुता ने उसके लिए नेजल रिकंस्ट्रक्टिव सर्जरी उस जमाने में बताई हुई है। सो वी आर गोइंग टू सी अ ग्लिम्स ऑफ इट हाउ इट इज डन। यूजुअली नोज रिकंस्ट्रक्टिव सर्जरी में क्या होता है, मतलब अभी हम बेसिक से समझते हैं। पहले ग्राफ्टिंग में क्या होता है, अ पार्ट ऑफ अ वेन और आर्टरी इज taken, removed and put it into a one more other part of your own body, so there are less chances of graft rejection. So this is a process of grafting, मतलब तुम एक पार्ट को कट करके दूसरे पार्ट को प्लेस कर रहे हो जहां पे सेम, in order to maintain the same blood flow. And what you know about, ये हो गया grafting method. This is grafting, ठीक है। ये तो अभी रिसेंटली आया हुआ है। Even before grafting also, one more, there is advanced technology, that is the flapping method. Grafting and flapping ये दोनों एक साथ ही बोलते हैं usually। Flapping मतलब here in this case we will remove a part of your body along with the blood vessels, and so that ये जहाँ पे भी next हम attach करेंगे easily जल्दी से attach होकर वहाँ पे blood vessels को फिर से reconnect करके जल्दी से wound healing में या फिर जल्दी से वहाँ पे वापस अपना जो प्राकृतिक स्थान था जैसे था वैसे ही वो रीगेन कर सके। So this flapping method, grafting or flapping method, was told by Acharya Sushruta long years back. So let us see how this nasal reconstructive surgery is done. तो ये nasal reconstructive surgery होती कैसे है? अगर आज के ज़माने में हम समझने की कोशिश करें तो एक टिश्यू फ्लैप को कट करके हमारे यहाँ पे स्किन या गाल के अंदर रखा जाएगा, so that it regains that those it re-strengthens its blood supplies। ये शेप में कट करके इसे अंदर रखा जाता है इस तरह से। ये सारे ब्लड वेसल्स फिर से रीग्रोथ हो सकता है, and this is again cut open and it is attached to the place where the nose was actually there and suturing is done all over। So आचार्य सुश्रुता ने यही सेम टेक्निक हजारों करोड़ों साल पहले बताई थी, और आज भी बहुत सारे हॉस्पिटल्स में यही सेम प्रोसीजर होता है नेजल रिकंस्ट्रक्टिव सर्जरी के लिए। उन्होंने बताया था कि तब के जमाने में कुछ इंच टेप या मेजरमेंट टेप्स तो नहीं होते थे, तो उन्होंने क्या किया था, एक पत्र को लेकर नाक पे रखा, इतना जितना कटा हुआ नाक का भाग है और या फिर जितना हमें फिर से नाक चाहिए उतना उन्होंने कट किया एक पत्ते के ऊपर। उस पत्ते को उन्होंने रखा इधर गाल के ऊपर उसी पर्सन के, तो वहां से वो एक टिश्यू फ्लैप लेंगे, कट कर लेंगे और उसे फ्लैपिंग मेथड बोलते हैं। अलॉन्ग विद द ब्लड सप्लाई वी आर टेकिंग दैट एंड उसे ही फिर से हम यहाँ पे रखेंगे. So this procedure was done by Acharya Sushruta long back. This is nasal reconstructive surgery. तो अगली बार आपको अगर किसी ने भी बोला, फैमिली वाले या फिर घर वालों ने, कि बेटा तुमने तो हमारे नाक कटा दी, तो तुम बोलना अच्छे से कि हम आयुर्वेदा वैद्य हैं, हमें अच्छे से आता है नाक को कैसे ठीक करना है. या फिर नेजल रिकंस्ट्रक्टिव सर्जरी आचार्य सुश्रुता ने बहुत पहले से बताई है. ठीक है, तो लेट्स सी वन मोर मेथड ऑफ आचार्य सुश्रुता. इसमें हम देखेंगे स्यूचरिंग मेथड आचार्य सुश्रुता ने पहले ही बताई थी विद द हेल्प ऑफ एंट्स. एंट्स को लेके उनका सामने का भाग जो होता है उसको पहले बिटन बाइट करवाना पड़ेगा पर्टिकुलर एरिया में, फिर उसको चॉप ऑफ करते हैं. द लोअर एंड ऑफ द एंट इज चॉप्ड ऑफ, leaving its mandibles inside that place. So this was the method of suturing of at that time by Acharya Sushruta. Indian flag. So let's see Indian flag of nasal reconstructive surgery. यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो कि एक फ्लैप निकाला जा रहा है अब उसी के स्किन से पर्सन के. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट. सो दिस फ्लैप इज बीइंग टेकन एंड दिस इज द चॉप्ड पोर्शन ऑफ द नोज. सो फाइनली उसे उस जगह से निकाल कर करेक्ट पोजीशन पे फिर से नोज की रिपोजिशनिंग की जाएगी. अभी हम आप वीडियो में देख सकते हो थर्मल क्वार्टरी यूज कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे. दिस इज अगेन सेम, द नोज इज रिकंस्ट्रक्टेड. So this method was already told by Acharya Sushruta long years back. Just think, उन्होंने तब क्या टेक्नोलॉजी यूज की होगी ये सब करने के लिए. Even when there was anesthesia was also not available. Next. So this is video of a patient who was not able to walk also. ये चारों हाथ और पैरों पे चल जाते हैं. इसको भी ऐसे इंसान को भी विद्यकर्म करने के बाद 4 महीने के बाद ऐसा रिजल्ट आया कि वो खुद अपने पैरों पे खड़े होकर इस तरह से चल पा रही है. दिस इज नॉट लेस देन अ मिरेकल. तो ऐसे भी केसेस जिसको मॉडर्न ऑलरेडी रिजेक्ट कर चुके हैं, वैसे केसेस का ट्रीटमेंट भी आयुर्वेदा में बताया गया है. So thank you one and all for listening to this lecture. So I hope that आपको इसमें समझ आ गया होगा कि सिरा वेदना हम कौन से साइड पे करना है और कैसे करना है. And for that we must know the importance of the venous system and the venous supply of the whole body. Thank you.